I would have this over a Porsche 911 in a heartbeat. Whoa! You know, it's lively. I might actually shit my pants. Hey guys, welcome back to European Exotic Center. Today we are in a 2022 Aston Martin Vantage. And we're gonna head down to a local coffee shop, one of my favorites, and just sort of explore the Vantage as a whole and what makes it such a fantastic used car, sports car bargain currently on the used market. These cars new were like $185,000, $190,000 range. This one is currently for sale for $129,995 or 130 grand. Some of these have even dipped down to like the $85,000 range. So we're gonna kind of just explore what this car is maybe like to live with, what it's like to park around town, and why you should consider one of these over a Porsche 911. Underpass. So, currently stuck in Tampa traffic downtown. How does it feel? Quite civilized, to be honest. I mean, there really isn't much indication that you're in something super exuberant or dramatic or anything it just kind of drives like a car. Now, I hope we can find a parking spot because I'm a little bit late this morning. Had to run back and grab the camera lens. Most important part of the video. Yes. Very nice, perfect spot. Okay, yeah. Parking sensors are way too sensitive. You could be about 7 miles away and it's still gonna be beeping at you. And it freaks out and it makes you think that you're about to hit something, and I can clearly see that I'm not. Coffee's pretty mid, not gonna lie. But anyways, I have the Aston Martin Vantage parked right behind me, and it's not a bad view, is it? You know, I think that's part of the appeal of owning an Aston Martin is just the fact that you can park it up along the street and just look at it. Like, I feel like I'm doing everybody here a favor by simply having them look at the Aston Martin. Sit back, relax, sip your coffee, sip your tea, and you can look back and think, that is stunning, and it's mine. I mean, it's not mine, but everybody here thinks it is. Meanwhile, I got 47 cents in my bank account. So if you're looking to buy a Porsche, don't. I'd much rather have the Aston personally. I just think it is a little bit more of an exotic experience over a 911. A 911's a fantastic car, but the reality is, at least down here in Florida, you see them all the time. Aston Martin has a slight edge over the Porsche because you just simply don't see them as often. Vantage on the used market, like I said, they have come down dramatically in value. That one again, 130 grand. It's got 9,000 miles on it, and especially in that matte paint. Like, that's not a wrap. I thought it was a wrap. That is factory matte paint. One of the most menacing Vantages I've ever seen. Compared to new Aston Martins, I mean, that is an absurd bargain. All the new Astons are so overpriced. The new Vanquish is like $585,000 for no reason. New cars have just become way too expensive. Life is expensive. I had to finance this coffee for like 12 years. For that price point, everybody kind of gets McLaren 570S, Audi R8. I feel like everyone kind of forgets about the Aston. But let's go back out for a drive and see why you should buy the Aston over the Porsche. Right. Cup holders, check. Sort of. Okay. To business. So now that we're back in the Vantage, what do we think about the interior? Kind of a relatively controversial interior on this car. Really all the Astons, except for the new ones, which will be worth about as much as this in about 7 seconds. Yes, it is nice in here. This nice stitching all over. Nice metal paddles, which is much appreciated. I mean, even like the new Audi R8, for example, has like these horrible plastic paddles. If you're gonna be touching this all the time, just make it nice. Steering wheel is relatively normal. You can also get like that weird Minecraft shaped steering wheel, but it's more so to do with this center cluster here. It's too cluttered. If you own the car and you have it for a few weeks, you probably just get used to everything, but it's just a lot to take in. Like, it hits you like a truck when you walk in here. Or like, I don't know what anything means or does. And honestly, the older Vantages had the same issue. The buttons were far too small and they were just kind of hard to read. This is better. And again, Mercedes software, all that stuff, Mercedes tech. Anyways, different drive settings here. Starting off in default, sort of comfort setting. Not interested. Sport mode engaged, opens up the exhaust valves a bit. And now this is a twin turbo V8, but it doesn't really sound turbocharged. It is used in various cars, including the Mercedes AMG GT. 503 brake horsepower, rear wheel drive. Ooh, a little bit of burbles on the down shifts. Well, let's give it a few revs here. See how she sounds. I would have this over a Porsche 911 in a heartbeat. Now the 911 is probably a better car. Overall build quality, and you know, they have the, Aston Martin doesn't have the money that Porsche has. You know, Porsche, it's probably better engineered. It feels a little bit more solid behind the wheel. But I mean, it's not like a night and day thing. So yes, as a car, the 911 is probably a bit better. As an experience, as a car that makes you feel special, this beats it, 100%. You know, it is an 8-speed automatic ZF transmission, very commonly used transmission. Shifts are relatively responsive, and the brakes, while they do work well, they are a little bit grabby as well. Now I can also change the suspension settings as well, separately, which I do quite like. There's a cop behind me, but I'm not worried. I mean, you can't pull over an Aston. You just can't. Like, it's against the law. Yeah. Somebody passed out from seeing the Aston. We're gonna take this car on some decently curvy roads, and by decently I mean for about 15 seconds, and by curvy I mean they're not. Car revs to 7,000 RPM, and unlike Astons of old, I can now see when I need to shift. They never had a red line for some reason. I mean, they did, but you couldn't see it. So you had to Google your own red line before you drove the car, which is weird to me. But so, God, this thing just really, I mean, it hugs and it moves. It's 503 horsepower, but it feels a hell of a lot more than that. It's just such a grunty car. 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. Top speed, 195 miles an hour. I really like these cars for 120 grand, 130 grand. This is such a nice car. It is rear wheel drive, and that rear end will sneak up on you if you're not careful. Put it into track mode actually, because we're not on a track, so of course we put in track mode. Oh my, that. Taking this bend at about 60, You know, it's lively. Oh, hear that? Whoa! Yeah, this thing is phenomenally quick and fun. Like this, I just feel like compared to a 911, again, I think this is a little bit more of a I might actually shit my pants. You know, I don't want to say it's confidence inspiring, because it isn't. You know, it's not like an all-wheel drive Huracan where you can just pin it around a corner and you'll be fine. A nice little delayed, like, it's not too many pops. Like, sometimes, you know, a lot of the new cars coming out, it's too artificial. It's just like a little tease, you know? Now, the new Vantage, I've never seen such a massive power jump into a next generation of car. 503 horsepower, the new one, like 650 or 660, whatever it is. That's enormous. Usually it's like 20, 30 horsepower. And so maybe you could justify the price jump because of that, but I mean, Aston Martin owners, they're very self-aware people, right? They're not trying to race anybody. They're not trying to be faster than a Huracan or a 570 or whatever. The main appeal of an Aston is the looks and the sound. I mean, it is still, yes, a very fast car and it will satisfy those needs. Aston Martin is not capable of making an ugly car. They just are not, they can't do it. The head designer could have a gun to his head and he will not make an ugly car. He'll scribble and do whatever he can to make it as horrid looking as possible and it'll still come out perfect. And not to mention you can tune one of these and make crazy power, put downpipes on it. Aston Martin, they're kind of in like a league of their own almost, because they're not as luxurious as, say, a Bentley, but not as strictly performance oriented like, say, a Huracan. It's a really sweet middle ground between the two. The Astons have always just done the best. Like, they're always just that perfect blend of luxury and sportiness. Like, they're always, it can be a continent crusher when you need it to be, and then you can just hoon it around a track whenever you want, and then take it home, and it's still gonna work the next day. This being an AMG powertrain, I mean, if you're gonna borrow an engine, AMG is probably the best one to borrow from. So, yes, we'd rather it be an Aston V8, you know, just like the old cars, which had their own kind of charm to them, but they were never like exceptionally amazing engines, I wouldn't say, although surprisingly reliable. And this car, you know it's gonna work well. Maintenance is just like, sort of like maintaining a nice Mercedes. There just really aren't many downsides. Turn-in is lovely because it's not so darty like some of the more modern, like some of the modern Ferraris are almost too twitchy at the wheel. And while this is, you know, not the most communicative steering in the world, it still has a little bit of weight to it. Oh, that was the best one yet. Jumping onto the interstate now. So put it back into sort of comfort mode. This car, while it is a nice grand tour, it could be used as that. It's not as good as, like, say, the DB11 or DBS Superleggera. This is more of like the sports car in the Aston lineup. It's the smallest, punchiest car they make. And so it's gonna feel a little bit more like a traditional sports car in terms of the stiffness and the way it absorbs the road. Not to say it's uncomfortable, because it isn't. This is totally fine. I could easily drive this every day. But it's a little sports car. It's not gonna be quite as plush as the DB11. And I don't really even need to raise my voice. I mean, this road is just kind of loud, but I can just kind of have a conversation. Gear changes are quick. It's not quite as quick as a dual clutch, but it's not far off. And to be honest, the average person driving this car isn't really gonna notice. Oh, underpass, underpass. Yeah. It's a very thunderous sound. It sounds kind of muscle car-ish, to be honest. And compared to the AMG GT, it does feel a bit more aggressive to drive. The exhaust is a little bit throatier. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Again, this car is for sale here at European Exotic Center. Check out our website and view all the photos of the vehicle. And I will see you guys in the next one.